Hello there again, I am the Common Sense Guy. Today we're going to be doing a video on the EU, surprisingly very, very well. But this is not going to be a good thing, this isn't going to be about Brexit, this isn't going to be anything that I really wanted to do. This is just more proof of the authoritarianism of the government that is the EU apparently. The fact that they are now going to tell us what we can and cannot say, what we can and cannot print. All in the idea of fake news, all in the idea of the news media outlets themselves being the beacon of truth that they apparently are. Yeah, like you, like me, that's completely and utter bollocks, and we know that. But how else are they going to be able to peddle their false narratives without somebody that has what you would call a counter-culture to it, or a counter-argument to it? It would only be led to the BBC to tell us all about Labour's plans, but not have Tories decide that they're going to try and dismantle the plans, and vice versa, as it should be on a partisan issue. The fact of should be able to decipher between the two and have both opinions there. But apparently we can't have the opposite opinion to what the government wants to tell us anymore. Instead of it being operated through the shadows like some conspiracy theory, this is actually happening. This is the EU government saying that we are going to decide to take away your freedom of press, your freedom of being able to decipher and say what you want to say. And we're letting them do it. Now, I don't know what I can do to actually stop this from happening, apart from doing this video and producing the story. That in itself won't be able to happen for too much longer, I understand that. But this is the only thing I know what to do. So I'm going to produce it, I'm going to put it out there, I'm going to just try and send it to a couple of people, see if they take hold of it, and see if a bigger channel than myself is interested in taking the story on. Because this is something that really should be put out there. So hopefully we'll be alright. But with the EU, I don't think we will be. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So this is a video that I really wanted to do. Simply because I think that it affects people like me. People that are going to be on YouTube, people that are actually making their own news or following sources and putting source material up rather than just expressing an opinion. Though even just expressing an opinion is still valid because it's an opinion. So I wanted to get on with this story and I just wanted to set this out here and just think, are we allowed to have freedom of expression nowadays? Are we allowed to have our own points? Are we allowed to actually have free thinking? Or are we now supposed to be indoctrinated by the media in itself? Now, some people will look at me and go, what do you mean indoctrinated? You look at the facts of CNN, for instance, that have come out recently and have actually said they're producing false narratives, as in Russia and different things like that. Oh, it's a nothing burger, Project Veritas, and whatever you want to do on that one. The fact that they've been proven and have had to make redactions and things like that. The fact that newspapers make redactions and things like that as well. So when people go, oh yeah, the news reporters normally get everything out really well. No, they don't. And I think that's the point. You have to really realise now that it's not a case that everybody is doing different work. Just because you've got a journalistic degree doesn't mean you can't do journalism. Journalism is basically expressing an opinion backed up by actual facts and points. Now, if you were to say that the moon's hollow, well, show me the evidence for it. If you got evidence for it, then fair enough, I might believe you. But at the same point, if you're going to tell me that the old world is flat, fair enough, show me some of the evidence. I have no problems with these type of conspiracy theories. I have no problem with them, but show me the evidence for it. I'll look at your evidence, I'll look at the evidence that's provided from myself, I'll take my own worldview into consideration, and I'll be able to decide for myself what's what. Doesn't matter what I think about either on that one, but it's the point that you can make your own decisions on it. And isn't that the point of having a free society? to be able to make what decisions you want to do, to follow the stories, to follow the rabbit holes that you want to go down deep into. So let's get into this actual plan. Sorry, let's actually get into this actual video and actually see what it actually says at this moment in time. So, fake or real? EU moves to tackle fake news. Dozen of experts thrash out ideas to counter the spread of fake news online as the EU draws up a battle plan. So they're actually trying to attack people that are actually doing independent journalists. So let's have a quick look, shall we? Dozens of experts, have been in Brussels to talk fake news and how to counter its online spread. The EU's so worried about the phenomenon. You mean it's so worried that people that are actually producing the stories, for instance, using myself as an example, the fact that the EU army is almost ready. It just needs to be finally ratified, and then the actual money needs to go into it. The fact that you're planning to become a superstate. Is that what you're worried about? Is that the type of fake news that you don't want spreading? Or is it the fake news and the narrative of Muslim rape gangs? Is it the fake news and the rhetoric, the dogma of the right, saying that Sweden's really bad, that there's lots of rapes going on, the fact that there are grenades that are being lobbed into police stations to blow them up, the fact that police stations are actually not being used anymore because they're being overrun. The fact that basically martial law is being integrated into places like Sweden. Is that fake news? I'm not sure. A lot of people seem to be reporting it, especially the people that live there. It's very interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. But let's carry on, shall we? The EU's so worried about the phenomenon, made famous by US President Trump's continued references to it, that it's drawing up a battle plan. You do realise that Donald Trump's continued references is to mainstream media and calling them fake news, don't you? Not calling things online fake news, but the actual general legacy media, so to speak. Your CNNs, your ABCs, your BBCs. Them type. He's calling them fake news. But hey, I suppose he loves to use a propaganda machine. It comes after allegations of Russian meddling in the US elections to stop Hillary Clinton winning. And after Emmanuel Macron's team complained his French presidential campaign was targeted by hackers. Very interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. I do find this very, very interesting, simply because you've got this point at this moment in time where people seem to be blaming everything on Russia. Oh, Hillary Clinton didn't win the presidency. Oh, Russia colluded and were able to get him to change. So you're telling me that they were able to sway so many people? Isn't that the form of democracy? I'm not trying to say that other countries should interfere in other countries' democratic will, but doesn't America do that? Don't other foreign interests, I don't know, President Obama coming over to the United Kingdom, talking about Brexit and saying that if we voted Brexit, we would be at the back of the queue? Don't they try to actually, put forward their worldview rather than just trying to be partisan about it? No? Okay then. My mistake. Obviously not. No end in sight. I don't think that we're ever going to stop fake news as we know it. Beth Hewitt, a senior lecturer in a media practice at the UK's University of Salford, told Euronews. I think the key is to give people the tools to decipher and to work out where they want to go with their reading and what they find out. Wow, somebody that actually believes in the autonomy of the human brain, in the actual fact of being able to work stuff out for oneself. Is that not the reason why people like myself on YouTube actually produce the stories that they want to produce? Something that actually means something to them and actually giving their opinion about it with a source citation? Interesting, isn't it? And these type of things are all things that are supposed to be falling apart. Excuse me for a second. Tuesday's Brussels meeting saw 100 experts, all 100, from the media, academia and others come together to help advise the EU Commission as it formulates its fights. Because there's such a problem about freedom of press, apparently. I thought it was the fact that freedom of press could be anybody that produces a story that actually has citations and quotes and has backup to their points. I thought that was the point of freedom of press. Isn't that the cornerstone of a proper country, as a democratized country? No, because you want to tell people what to do. Is that not authoritarian? Is that not the whole point of being a fascist? Antifa, I think you have somewhere to fucking be, my friends. A threat to a democratic values. Yeah, definitely. Threat to democratic values. The fact that somebody has an opinion and a voice and wants to put it out there, but you want to stop it. Yep. Definitely a threat to domesticated democratic values. Definitely. But not for the point of fake news. What is new is the speed of the spread of the dimensions. Actually, that's political society? That's political society. Mayor Gabriel, EU Commissioner for Digital Economy and Society, to explain to Euronews. Fuck's sake. What is new is the speed of the spread and the dimensions. Actually, that's political, societal. Maria Gabriel, EU Commissioner for Digital Economy and Society, explained to Euronews. Fake news can even threaten our values as a democratic society. How can that be? Please explain how somebody's opinion can actually change the point of a democratic view or democratic society, but we need to cipher it, we need to quiet it, we need to fucking shut it up because it's going against our narrative. Oh, sorry. I thought I was working for the EU for a second. That's why it's so important to have an inclusive process and try to find some solutions. By censoring people, by telling people they can't say what they want to say unless they agree with us. You know, that type of stuff. With technology making it so easy for us to go online, the net has become a paradise for the fakers. You mean for people that want to voice an opinion? As I said, even if it's a conspiracy theory, it's still an opinion. The fact is that you swayed people by the evidence. Now, that's not to say I believe in all conspiracy theories, or I believe in every single form of the news, because it's been proven, even in the mainstream media, to be liars. So does that mean that they're going to actually stop BBC from reporting, for instance, or Sky News reporting because it's only on one particular side? Does that mean that's going to be working? No, I didn't think so. It's a point to try and quell the internet media, isn't it? Everybody should be able to say Everybody should be able to say what he wants and to write what he wants, especially in the area of the internet. So fake news is basically journalism today, said one woman in Brussels. Which is correct and absolutely fucking true. Now let's carry on. A man added, I think people shouldn't trust in all this social media anymore. They should read the real newspapers. You mean the ones that fake their stories? The ones, for instance, like The Sun, that have been proven to force narratives and hack people's phones to get news stories. Yeah, we should definitely follow them, shouldn't we? Let's follow them type of newspapers. Let's also follow the news that actually decides that it's going to falsify narratives. Let's take Channel 4 News, for instance, when the London attack happened. And we're calling somebody the actual name of the person who was actually supposed to have done it, and they got that completely wrong. The EU Commission's due to unveil its plans to tackle fake news this spring. See if this actually has any more points. No, it doesn't. See, this is just a very, very small news piece. I just wanted people to actually see what was going on. The fact that it's not the fact of fake news. It's the fact that people like myself are going to be targeted. And the people on YouTube are going to be targeted. So not being able to express an opinion that's backed up by facts. Or at least citations. And I think that's the scariest point. The fact that the EU in itself is actually deciding that it's going to take a war against its democracy, its meritocracy, in fact, to be fair. The fact that its meritocracy is there. The fact of the best should rise to the top. Not the fact that it should be democratically voted, but it should be authoritarianly suppressed. You can't have an opinion that's against ours. You can't vote against us. You can't produce stories that are against us, even if they are heavily cited. I think that's the most scariest point that I could ever bring up about the EU. The fact that it is actually willing to attack its own citizens for making its own opinion and backing it up by citations and points. The actual reasons why people actually have gone to YouTube and places like YouTube to be able to produce their stories and actually tell their stories. And now they want to censor it because they know that it's competing with the real or fake news of the real or fake world. It's just so ludicrous to me. And the point is, nobody will ever look at it and think, well, this is an infringement on people's rights. No, this is just an attack on fake news. Doesn't matter what you want to say, any news can have a proportion of being fake, because it's the person that's telling the news that wants to tell the story, meaning they're choosing to opt out different parts of the story, or any story. So what is really true? There is no objective truth, so to speak, that's being reported. It's only a personal truth, what you perceive to be true. No matter how non-biased you think you are, there's always bias to a story. There's always bias by the editor. There's always that point of bias. So there was always going to be an element of omitting something to prove a point. Alright, I think I'm done on this story. I think you get the point. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I'll see you all again real soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye for now.